Danny, how you doing, man?
Tip of the tongue, teeth in the lips.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, he says that.
Well, I can't fault you there, Dan. He does say that, although it is not perhaps the standout part of the film. I found that you are very good at picking out a line in a film that was just a bit obscure and weird that I sort of remember and sort of don't. And you're very good at picking it out and making me go, was that in the film?
Thank you. If that was an occupation, I wouldn't be doing this, tell you that.
No, you would be rolling in it.
Yep.
You would be the number one that guy
quoter.
that picks out quotes. Yeah, maybe if you get a job for like, I don't know, the Guardian's film columnist, whoever that is, and just pick out the most obscure quotes from whatever film they're talking about, that column.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the point that they're trying to, but you just see like a big headline of tip of the tongue, teeth in the lips, and the person's that's reading it, really enjoying the review, sees it and just says, what the fuck's that?
What's that got to do with anything? Tip of the tongue, teeth in the... What? That doesn't make any kind of fucking sense. They've written this shit.
They don't. The Guardian don't do crosswords. Are they doing tongue twisters? Is that what that? Yeah. But anyway, before we get to all
that, that voice, it always reminds me of. Oh God, do you remember that joke that Simon made about the Scottish news?
No, what did it? I can't. I'm sure it was something hilarious.
He just I think it was an excuse to make a news joke he's made several times, but with a slightly different accent. He said, hello and welcome to the Scottish News. He did a Scottish accent because he's a skilled performer, and I'm just, some idiot from the Midlands.
Well, it was alright, but...
hello and welcome to the Scottish News. Tonight the headlines are, oh no, you won't like that. Oh, you won't like that. Oh no, you won't like that either. Good night.
What?
Just, whenever you do the voice, it puts me in mind of that joke.
Well, I mean... To be fair, I think that Scotland wouldn't ever shy away from the horrible stuff. Like, we like that sort of shit, We're all about that. Everyone in Scotland just saying, no, we're not. Don't fucking listen to that prick.
I would like to hear about the horrific, depraved things that have happened. Yes, that sounds like a good time.
Yep, definitely. Everyone.
This is what I want on the news.
Everyone's had a drink in them. It's great.
Oh God, I've never been to Scotland. I presume it's just a normal place, but every now and then you say things that conjure up these images in my mind that utterly skew my perception of what Scotland is like.
Listen, Lewis, after years of being stereotyped, I now embrace them and make up new ones.
You're going to tell everybody you meet. No, yeah, everybody sits around a campfire at 6 p.m. for the news at 6.
Yep.
And somebody is there with their cards and they talk through a hole in a cardboard box that we all pretend is a TV. Yeah.
There have actually been people that believed me when I said that we didn't have television, and I'm sure you and I think you were there for some of it. It was on like the 4 o'clock
I imagine
club,
I was, yeah.
And you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I'm just like, no, we don't. No, we watch a weirdly entertaining stain on a rock. It's our favourite show, Stain Man.
Oh God, Stain on a Rock. Next week on Stain on a Rock, will Gary break up with Stacey? It's just a picture of the same stain week after week.
Yeah, it's just dramatic events that take place by this stain. That's where everyone
like
gravitate.
The Room.
Yeah, like The Room.
It's dramatic events that happen in a room. Yeah, but it's dramatic events that happen adjacent to a stain on a rock.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Right, come on, we need.
Okay, right. I've got something for the bullshit.
Excellent.
But we do not have the wheel with us this week.
It's I'm travelling. No,
come on. We can come up with a hilarious anecdote. Because it's currently performing with the Russian ballet.
Yes, of course. A hilarious.
Dancers are doing pirouettes and the wheel is spinning and people are going, well, this is good. I mean, it doesn't make much sense, but it's good.
Yep. So I'll spin the backup wheel.
Which is bigger and heavier and harder to carry around, which is why you travel with it.
Yep, exactly. That's good, I like that.
Discord hated that noise,
yeah.
whatever you did then. I'm not sure if it's finished yet.
I'll tell you when it stops.
Okay, good, thanks.
Even though it's smooth. So I'll let you know it's finished.
Okay, good.
Oh, that's it, done.
Excellent, right, okay. An exciting trip to the vet with my wonderful cat, Monica.
Oh, and how did that go?
I have the scratches and bruises to prove that I took Monica to the vet.
Ooh.
Okay, imagine you're a cat.
Uh-huh.
You're a pretty chilled out cat as things go. Lots of cats are quite aggressive to people. I remember years and years ago I did like rock climbing as a hobby, and one of the instructors I was working with said to me that when they were a kid, they had a cat that just hated them. It would sit in doorways waiting for them to come by, and then whenever the child came by, it would scratch at their ankles.
Oh.
But let's just say for a second that you are Monica Brindley, who is not like that. Her interests include napping and standing on either Chloe or me at incredibly inconvenient times. That's essentially what Monica's points of interest boil down to. We had to take Monica to the vet, not for any particular reason, just for a sort of a general checkup and to be able to have a look over and stuff. I don't know if it's the same with dogs, but when cats have vaccines, they have like a vaccine when they're a kitten, and then they have to have like a booster one every year, like within the year sort of thing, to make sure that they're completely protected from whatever. From what, I'm not entirely sure, but from something, I suppose. So yeah, she went to have the vaccine, and the first difficulty I had was getting her actually into the crate. Because we have two cat carriers. One of them is the kind of thing that like a door opens on the front. You can probably imagine the thing I'm describing. A door opens on the front, and one of them is the kind of thing where it's like sort of a cage, and the entire top can be like sort of hinges open like a chest, and then you put the cat in and slam the lid shut so she can't jump out.
Yeah.
I tried the first one. She didn't like that. Right, basically, she was booked in on a Thursday one week at 3 p.m. or something. I remember thinking it was weirdly late in the day. But, yeah, it was about 3 p.m. And so at about 2 o'clock, I started trying to get Monica into the box.
Right.
I picked her up, which is, she's fairly skittish, as cats go, but she's mostly pretty chilled out. So picking her up once or twice, she doesn't mind it too much as long as you don't try and, like, I don't know, put her somewhere she doesn't really want to be. Mm-hmm. Like, if you try to put her in the bathtub, she'd probably be like, well, I don't really want to be here. But if you just put her on a bed or put her on a chair, she'd be like, this is all right, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I picked her up, tried to put her in the crate. She was in the bedroom, I think she was, and I picked her up, sort of two hands under her armpits sort of thing. So she's this long spaghetti noodle of a cat just dangling there as I'm carrying her around.
Right.
And I sort of went into the office where I'd put the crate on the sort of sofa that we have in there, and I essentially tried to just put the cat in the box, and she was having none of it. Right, this box was fucking chock-a-block with treats, with catnip, with a nice soft blanket to make sure that she had a wonderful time, but good God, she was not going in that fucking box. No. She leapt out of my hands, and I sort of got in her way, and I was like, no, Monica, you're going in the box. I didn't shout at her, because she hates loud noises, but I was like, Monica, you're going in the box. Come on, let's go in the box.
You whispered angrily, get in the fucking box.
Yeah, pretty much. And to cut a long story short, I did not get Monica in that box.
Oh, no.
I watched 3 o'clock come and go, and I called the vet, and I said, I still haven't even got my cat in the box and out the door. I'm not going to be able to get her there on time. I said, okay, we'll reschedule an appointment for whatever date it was. So we did. We rescheduled an appointment for, it was another Thursday, I think it was. But anyway, yeah.
So you spent the week trying. You said, right, okay, I've got a week.
I sort of did spend the week gearing up, actually. Yeah, this is kind of true. I got out the other crate that we have, which is something that we meant to take back to the shelter that we adopted Monica from, but we just haven't been able to because of COVID lockdown and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's just still in our house. So I got the crate, and I took out the sort of... It has like a sliding bolt that goes across the top corner, and you sort of pull the bolt all the way out, and then the lid swings back over like a chest.
Yeah.
And within the box, there's I put in like a little mouse that she quite likes, and I put some treats in. I sprayed it with catnip and all that sort of stuff. She was sat in the living room, and the second she saw that box, she was like, "No fucking way! You are not getting me in that box." But I had the forethought in this situation to close the door to the bedroom, because when she gets under the bed, that is the only place I cannot actually reach her.
Yeah.
In the entire house. If she's under a chair, chairs are sufficiently small that I can reach under and sort of scoop her out. But I cannot, because it's a double bed, obviously. I'm not physically big enough to reach all the way under the bed, because she can just run to the other side.
Yeah.
And then I have to chase her around to the other side of the bed and reach under, and she runs to the other side. And so it's a back and forth game that she loves to play, it would seem.
Yep, you're getting made a mug.
Say that again?
You're getting made a mug.
I am getting made a mug of by my cat.
Yep.
Which is a wonderful time. So yeah, Monica was sat in the living room, and I went in, and I gave her a bit of a stroke, gave her a couple of treats, picked her up, and I tried to put her into the crate. Just to sort of give you a bit of an idea, the crate itself is perhaps 30 centimeters. It's a rectangular cuboid.
Mm-hmm.
So the top is, and it sort of hinges along the long side of the rectangle on the top. So it's sort of 30 centimeters wide and sort of 60 centimeters long. It's quite big. So I thought, okay, it's quite big. She can see through the walls. It'll be dead easy for her.
Yeah.
So I picked her up. Again, she's a cat spaghetti noodle. And I sort of lowered her in slowly, feet first, and she'd sort of put two of her feet on either side of the crate to stop herself from going in. So she was sort of pushing back with her sort of thigh and hip muscles. And I was like, "No, Monica, come on, honey, you have to go in this box. It's for your own good." So I sort of had to pick her up and twist her so that she could not physically reach her legs wide enough to get to the either side of the box and try putting her in. And then when she was about 3 inches off the ground, she realised what was happening, that I was putting her into a crate, and she freaked the fuck out.
Oh, fuck.
She sort of looked around at me and went, "Meow, meow, 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 meow," just sort of normal meowing, but very loud. And turned around with both of her hands and started cat slapping the shit out of my arm, my left arm. And sort of went scratch, 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 and I went, "Oh fuck!" And I dropped her about an inch into the crate.
Yeah.
As she sort of hit the floor, span round, and was took a second on the floor where sort of I was looking down at her, clutching my arm, and she was looking up at me like, "You just put me in a fucking box, you dick." And then she leapt out of the box and ran off into the house, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." So I looked at, because this was the appointment was at 10 and this was at 9 o'clock. And by 9:01 she'd already scratched me, so that was exciting. Chloe sent me a text saying, "How's it going getting Mon into the box?" And I sent her back a picture of my bleeding arm, and she went, "Oh my god." So yeah, there's a couple of scratches and bruises on my arm, but I'm fine. But then this is an odyssey, so strap in for a long and boring story. Monica, I realised, had run off somewhere into the house, but I didn't know where. So I started systematically checking rooms to try and find where she was. So it's like, okay, is she in the living room? Is she down behind the sofa? Is she under by the bookcase? Is she under the cat tree? Where? Okay, she's not in here. Close the door. She's not in the spare room. She's not in the office. She's not in the bathroom. And I was like, process of elimination. And she was under the dining table. And I was like, okay, Monica, I can see you. You can see me. You're going in that box, honey. And then I started sort of trying to coax her out and gently sort of pick her up and sort of stuff. But as soon as she would get out in the open, she would run back into safety, and I couldn't sort of get her in time.
Uh-huh.
And I realised, okay, the only way to do this is going to be to put oven gloves on and try and just grab her.
Oh.
Okay, in my defence, I'd been doing this for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And she was starting to get really pissed at me.
It's already a week-long process.
Precisely, yeah. And I said to Chloe, she's growling at me and hissing at me. I fucking hate this. This is horrible. And Chloe sent me a text back saying, "You're just going to have to grab her, babe. That's the only thing you can do.
No.
She needs to go to the vet. It's the only sort of thing." So I tried to sort of grab her, and she sort of, after a bit of me chasing her around the dining room and then me chasing her around the utility room, she went into the hallway, where I'd closed all the doors, and I was like, yes, this is my moment. This is my chance. So I feverishly closed the kitchen door. So all there was like the sort of entrance hallway bit in our house, the stairs, and then the top landing. And I was like, okay, she was at the top of the stairs, I was at the bottom of the stairs, and I genuinely looked at her, oven gloves on, and said, Monica, you are getting in that fucking box. And then I spent about 15 more minutes chasing her up and down the stairs.
Oh, no.
Which was an exciting time. I was like, come on, sweet. Oh, for fuck's sake, she'd run down to the bottom of the stairs. Eventually, I think she just got knackered. I think I just sort of enduranced her out, basically. And I've christened my cat picking up method the cheese toasty method. Here's the concept. Imagine you've got a cheese toasty in a pan.
Yep.
And you have your hands in some oven gloves. One of your oven, we're replacing 2 spatulas for 2 oven gloved hands here, but you sort of squish down on the cat with one of your spatulas, which actually apparently calms them down. I watched a YouTube video about this. And now I have this phrase in my head. This vet saying, if your cat is stressed out, just gently press down on them, squish that cat, and they'll get really calm. It doesn't work, but it does seem to sort of calm her down a bit. So sort of gently squish down on the side with one hand, and then you sort of tuck your fingers under the other side and sort of flip her over like a cheese toasty. And then you sort of gently squish down with the other hand, so you're sort of gently squishing from both sides, and then you can sort of scoop and pick up. And then, again, she's cat noodle, but she's pissed off this time.
Yep.
So she's sort of wiggling around like a little furious cat noodle. And then you sort of gently lower her into the box. She realizes what's happening, and I'm like, I know, Mon, I'm really sorry about this, honey. You need to go into the box. And I gently put her in the box, put my arm across the top of the box so she hasn't got any room to jump out, while I furiously reach for the lid, which is like scattered away on the floor, forgotten a million miles away. Slam it shut, slide the bolt across, and then sit on the bottom step and go, fucking hell.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, that was so much work. And then look at my watch and think, oh my God, I've spent half an hour doing that. I'm already almost late for the vet. And then frantically throw on some shoes, pick up the cat crate, and run to the vet. Oh God, it was like a whole thing.
And that's the cheese toasty method, folks.
That's the cheese toasty method. And I went through all that for the vet to tell me, yeah, she's fine. She's a bit fat though. Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. Oh God, it's an exciting time.
Jesus Christ. That is one of the most horribly ridiculous stories I've ever heard in my life. The fact that it ended so shite as well. It's like, yeah, she's fine. She's fat though. Like, it's just what the fuck.
Because I was expecting that. To be honest with you, I was expecting the vet to say to me, she's a bit underweight. Because she doesn't weigh a thing. You pick her up and she weighs nothing at all.
Yeah.
And like when you're stroking her, you can feel like her skull and her sort of shoulder bones and her spine and stuff. And I was expecting the vet to say she's a bit underweight. Maybe you should feed her a bit more.
But no,
and then the vet said
she's overweight.
Oh, no, she's supposed to weigh about 3.5. She weighs 4.5 kilos. And I was like, oh, right, okay. I'll feed her less then. So now I'm feeding her less.
Wow.
As you do.
So she's gonna become more agile for the cheese.
Oh God, I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
the cheese toasty method.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I think what I'm gonna have to do now is again cordon off, because I have to find out the paperwork from her last vaccine appointment to see if she's within date or if she needs a restart. But it's like a whole thing. Mm-hmm. But I might need to take her to the vet again in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So essentially, I'm going to have to start cordoning off parts of the house and then just chasing Monica around them until Monica's tired and I'm just like going through sheer force of bloody mindedness. And then maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to sort of cheese toasty her and put her in a box while she's like yowling at me and hissing.
I mean,
it's a good time.
It certainly sounds like you're going to need to film the next time you try and do that like that.
To be honest with you, I don't think I would ever film it because it was genuinely a bit horrific. Like, I had to put headphones in because I couldn't like actually take hearing her sort of
screaming,
yowling at me as I was trying to pick her up. I was like, this is one of the worst things I've ever had to do. This is fucking horrific.
That's stressful.
But Monica's fine. Just a bit fat. That's it. So that's exciting. She's got a thing with her heart that might become a problem, but it also might not. The vet didn't seem to care, so I don't think it's much of a problem.
Wow. What a story.
Yep.
God.
Oh.
You could write a short story about that, like the most horrific story ever. Like that would beat like the Boogeyman or anything like that. Like that's. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah, the odyssey of me taking my cat to the vet. If anybody else has ever tried to take a cat to the vet, I imagine they will have a similar story. Unless you have just a really chilled out cat. Maybe I should get one of those things you see them in adverts where everybody's like, "Oh, my cat was pissing up the wall and tearing the sofa apart, and now my cat's on drugs, so it's really chilled out."
Yeah.
Feliway or something. It's like a diffuser for cats.
I don't know if there
Maybe I
is.
should get that.
I don't know if there is such a thing as a chilled out cat. I think they're all pretty, intense.
I think the thing with cats is they're sort of a lesson in consent in a very strange way. It's like
True.
you cannot do anything with a cat if they do not enthusiastically want to do it. Like you cannot play with them, you cannot stroke them, you cannot feed them even if they don't want to be fed, sort of thing. And the sort of most bizarre thing of it all is that's essentially because when Monica first got here, she'd spent 5 months at the cat home. That can't possibly be the right word for that, but I'm sure you know what I mean. She'd spent 5 months there in a room with like feral cats and stuff. So she was really sort of petrified 24/7 for 5 months, and we got her home, and she was petrified of us. And she would like I remember at first it was like very small milestones. Like we'll be sat watching the TV and it'd be like, "Oh, Monica's hiding behind the sofa while we're also in here and the TV's on. That's amazing."
Yeah.
And now Monica will just stand on you, like, "I want food. I want you to feed me now." So
Well, I mean, I think I need a break after that. Jesus. I felt as if I was
It's all right.
there.
I was like running on adrenaline a bit.
Yeah.
Because I was like late to the vet. Well, I wasn't. I was about 30 seconds early. But I was walking there like, "Oh my God, I'm going to be late. Monica, since when have you been this fucking heavy?" Carrying this crate around. And then, I got back. Because it was all sort of downhill on the way back. Just because of where our house is and where the vet is.
Yeah.
And I sort of got home, put the cat down, opened the crate. She jumped out and went and had some food. And then there's some hilarious pictures I took of her sat in a box giving me the evils, just staring at me, really annoyed at me.
Oh, for God's sake.
I was fucking knackered. She was knackered. I was literally sat on the sofa and I was like, "I'm so sweaty and tired." This has been such a bizarre experience for me.
Yep.
Monica sat on the sofa next to me and just sort of sat with her face to me so she could see if I moved, and just fell asleep straight away.
Aww.
Like no trying to get comfortable. She's like snoring away, and then I was there on the sofa just like I don't even have the energy to like make a cup of coffee to go and do some work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an ordeal, and I'm glad I've been able to share it on the podcast.
Yes. Was there any sort of animosity afterwards, or was she alright? Was she?
No animosity as such. She's a bit spooked of me now. But it'll go with time. I think it's when Chloe's in the house, she's not. She's completely fine. But when it's just me and her, she's a bit spooked.
Yeah.
Which isn't great, obviously.
No.
But it'll go with time, because in an ideal world, she'll go on one vet visit per year. So in the course of the coming year, she will forget about this and we'll go back to normal, sort of thing. It's just frustrating for the next week or two.
True. Oh, well. That's a shame. And hilarious at the same level. Oh my God.
Yep. So what are we talking about today, Dan?
We're talking about the film School of Rock, and it was written by Mike White, and it was directed by Richard Linklater, and I don't know if I pronounced that right, and is starring Jack Black.
That's how I would have pronounced it, yeah.
Yeah. Jack Black, Mike White, Sarah Silverman, Joan Cusack, and Miranda Cosgrove, and a lot of other people.
Yeah, so many people are in this movie.
Yeah,
it's
a
kind
lot.
of a bit crazy.
Do you have an opening statement?
I do. This is yet another film that seems to be out there where it starts out and you're like, oh, it's just a light-hearted comedy movie, and then for the final 2/3 you're like, this is literally the greatest film I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely adore this film. It was a pleasure to watch it again. And I love Jack Black at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
what could possibly be wrong with that? Have you got an opening statement?
I do. An absolute classic, a hilarious and heartwarming film about opposing authority, accepting yourself, and realizing that winning isn't everything. One great rock show can change the world, man.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. It starts out, like you say, a light-hearted, sort of jokey Jack Black movie, and then that's... Yeah, it's about how rock and roll is sticking it to the man, and I don't know, there's something so, not romantic in the going on a date sense, but romantic in the Viva la Revolution type sense of like storming the gates, and you know what I mean?
Definitely. Do you have any CRQs?
For a second then, I looked down at my sheet, and I was like, space rhinos, what? Oh, right, okay, that's the wrong one. I think this, in a strange way, is almost like a teaching manual, in a weird way. It's like, I absolutely adore, this is less of a CRQ, more of a CRS, but I sort of adore how Jack Black sort of, I mean, I know it's not actually Jack Black, but how he sort of relates to the students individually and teaches them individually as individual students, and I think that's something that I think it's lacking accidentally from our school system, but I think it's something that is lacking, and I think it's worth talking about. I think the reason it's lacking accidentally is because class sizes are absurdly, incredibly, ridiculously high. I remember when I left high school, our maths class had 30 people in it, which was, it's not a lot. Like we were not an exceptionally huge high school. But I remember we didn't actually have enough chairs in the room to fit all the kids in. And we had to like sort of bring in extra chairs from adjacent classrooms and put them on the ends of desks and stuff like that. And I think when you have a class that big, you cannot relate individually to students and say, okay, why are you, Lewis Brindley, having trouble with this specific thing? And then help that child with it.
Yeah.
I think that's the really impressive thing this film does, is Jack Black takes the time to actually know all of the students that he's teaching, which is incredible.
No, I agree. And despite the fact that, like you said, there's so many people in this film, they still manage to give like a good amount of time for the students to like, sort of develop their own sort of characters, like, which is kind of insane. You know, like every student is like memorable. So the pacing's really good. But
the thing I do draw it back to sometimes is it's this is a bit of a tangent, but you're gonna have to stick with me.
Right, okay.
It's like how homeopathic medicine is seen as a viable alternative to actual medicine. When of course it isn't. Don't please Christ, if you're listening and there's something up, go to a doctor. Don't go to a man with some herbs.
Yeah.
The reason I think it's seen as an alternative is because the first appointment in a homeopathic sort of doctor process is a several hours long consultation where they say, at great length, please describe everything that is wrong with you. And that is the difference between sort of the NHS and a homeopathic thing, is the fact that at the NHS, I can go to my doctor and say, yeah, my arm hurts, and then he'll look at it and go, no, it's fine, go on. Because he's got 3 million appointments that day.
Yeah.
And I'm just one of his appointments, rather than this homeopathic method where they've got 3 people that day, so they can afford to take several hours listening to every intricate detail of your case. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And I think that's what's going on here, is that because Jack Black has the ability to get to know these kids incredibly well and sort of relate to them on a personal level, his teaching of them only gets better with time.
Yeah, whereas like the other teachers probably, because of like, whether it be like bureaucracy, don't really like you see at the beginning, Miss Mullins has a really hard time sort of relating to the students. Like, she's like, don't cry. Let's shout at this little girl who's upset. She's like, "Don't cry. Would you like a hug?" Like,
It's like every episode of Dance Moms ever.
Yeah.
They're like, stop crying, have fun. It's like, oh my god, Mum, stop screaming at me.
No, definitely. What is your favourite rock band, Lewis?
Oh, in real life?
Yeah. No, in the what?
Well, I thought you might have meant in the film.
Oh no.
That's a tough question to answer. I prefer rock that has a bit more of a bluesy edge to it. So I'd have to go for maybe Royal Blood. They're a sort of a British sort of semi-bluesy, semi-rock and roll type band. I really like them.
Yeah.
As a close second, there's one of my favourite bands, Wolfmother, who are an Australian rock band who, again, their music, it feels a bit bluesy. They talk about sort of cool stuff, but the songs are either very energetic or very slow, and I don't know, I just quite like them. Who is your favourite rock and roll band?
Probably The Who.
The Who are good. I went through a phase of really loving The Who, and now they're like one of the ones I love, but like I don't think I'd pick an album by them to listen to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I like some of the weird songs that they do. That's why I like them. The sort of obscure ones. But yeah. I think Patty, who's Ned's girlfriend, isn't as unreasonable as we're meant to believe that she is.
Okay.
Because like all she's doing is like complaining that Dewey is pretending to be a teacher and like not paying rent, and like he even says himself, it's like, I've been mooching off you for years, why is it suddenly a problem? At the beginning of the film, like, Dewey's not a nice person at all.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a bit like controlling, maybe, but like I don't think it's as bad as like the film we're supposed to buy into. Yeah. Which is kind of weird. You know, you'd think if Patty's going to be like an antagonist or like another representation of the man, then you think that she'd be a bit more unreasonable. But all she's saying is, could you please pay my boyfriend rent?
That would be all right.
And not pretend to be him and teach students when you're unqualified. Like, I mean, I guess.
I know what you mean. I think it's something that the film deals with in a surprisingly eloquent way. Is the difference between having an actual problem with something and having a sort of an emotional problem with something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that it comes across in that point you just made about how Jack Black sort of knows, well, yeah, I have got to pay rent, but that doesn't mean I want to be happy about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's his sticking it to the man is, oh, for fuck's sake, yeah, I know I've got to pay rent, but I'm not happy about it, sort of thing. I think that's sort of his sticking it to the man-ism in a strange way.
Yeah. How much is it he owes at the beginning? Is it like 2,200 or something?
I cannot remember. You could put a gun to my head and I would still not remember.
Well, there you go. I fucking hate the man, Lewis.
Like,
I hate.
Yep, me too.
I really hate the man. Whoever.
Well, it's because you might not have quite realised this one, but the man is a metaphor for capitalism. I'm sure you have realised this.
Don't say that.
Don't say the C word.
The FBI could be listening, or whatever we have. MI6.
MI6 could be listening to this nonsense that I'm talking about while I'm sipping a rapidly cooling cup of coffee.
Food capitalism, boys. Let's move in.
Let's move in. Arrest him quick.
I
hate the man, which is definitely not capitalism.
Yeah.
Similarly, I hate that it's we live in a society. Oh, we live in a society. we live in a world in which you have to just do stuff. I hate that we live in a world where things are valued based on
money.
What's the word I'm looking? Yeah, valued based on money rather than valued. It's the best example I have of this, and I know it comes across as wishy-washy hippie bullshit, but like the best example I have is how sort of the creative arts are valued much less than other careers.
Yeah.
Just by virtue of the fact that they are valued less monetarily. But that's just shit. I think it's an innate human thing that we create. It's an innate human thing that we sing or dance or act or write or whatever it might be. And I think it's disgusting that we consider that to be a trait to be stamped out.
Yep.
Say no, we should stop people from pursuing careers in music or pursuing careers in the performing arts, because really they should all be accountants, because that's where the money is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is where the money is. But everybody wants to be a singer for a reason. Everybody wants to have fun. Everybody wants to be happy. Why can't we let that happen? And I hate that the man, which is definitely not capitalism, encourages you to just be like, no, follow the market trends.
No,
pick out
definitely
however many careers that will be profitable, and then do it even if you hate it. Do it until you die.
Yep.
It's disgusting.
Just accumulate as much wealth as possible before you finally drop off. Like, I mean, you're right. I think it's disgusting.
Accumulate as much wealth as you can, so that the only way that your children and grandchildren can afford to buy a house is when you die. They will have your money, and then they can maybe use it to buy half a house.
Yep.
Right, today is too early. It's too early to be getting annoyed about capitalism. I haven't even finished my first coffee yet.
Do his speech about the man really hits home as well? Like when he's like, "Oh, you want me to teach you something?" and then he just goes on to this fucking rant. I mean, that was like, even though it's meant to be funny, it's, you know, makes some good points.
Yeah.
But,
I like that. I'm being a bit pretentious here, so, you know, feel free to call me a twat. But I think that the reason that it kind of not rings true, but the reason that I think we like it so much is that if we view the man as capitalism, which is kind of what they're all annoyed at, then Jack Black's sort of alternative world is this meritocracy in which people do what they want because they want to do it and they're good at it, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
There's no hidden motivations, there's no hidden profiteering. It's just, oh, you want to design the costumes? Yeah, okay. Oh, you want to be the lead singer? Yeah, okay. You're good at it.
Yeah.
Get practicing, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's just... Please tell me that we have not accidentally stumbled across another film about capitalism.
Oh, we.
I suppose every film is, you know.
Well, maybe more broader is like authority. Like maybe that's what it's like, which you know, capitalism is, but like it sort of extends to more than just, you know, money. I think like it's opposing sort of the rules and people telling you what not to do.
Yeah.
But no, I really like this body positivity from Dewey when he's talking to Mika.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, this is like in the early 2000s, so they were like in Britain, especially, they were still making like TV shows about like Britain's fattest family and all that.
Yeah,
So for this to like come out in like a Hollywood film, it's kind of pretty forward thinking for back then.
Yeah, it's kind of brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's a really good scene, really heartwarming.
I like that. The only acceptable response to sort of, oh, people are gonna laugh at me for what I look like or whatever is, well, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck them right off. It doesn't matter what they think. They're just some dickhead from wherever. Who cares?
Exactly.
Like, I like that the film acknowledges that that's kind of the only acceptable response, really.
Yeah.
Because if you say, oh, well, you know, if you make allowances for people that start to laugh at somebody based on their appearance, then it's a slippery slope. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I like that the film acknowledges that, well, fuck them. It's the proper response.
Exactly.
This is a joke I've seen made sort of on a lot of like D&D groups and stuff. I like that Jack Black is, as a person, both in real life and in this, is what you get if you just are charismatic to the maximum. If you are just the most charismatic you could possibly be,
yeah.
Jack Black is what you'd end up with. I love that he's like, because he kind of fast talks his way into working at a school and improving the lives of kids and doing that sort of. It's kind of great.
Yep, and it's not even intentional at the beginning, where it's like it's just him sort of trying to get some money, and then he realizes, oh no, these kids are pretty good. I don't know if Billy.
Yes.
He's played by a man named Brian Full and
Okay.
just as a sort of side thing, you should look up his story like after this film came out, and the way he was treated by people around him for being too gay or whatever. It's really heartbreaking and actually quite inspiring. So anyone that's interested should check that out. Just to say. But see, from a utilitarian point of view, is Dewey's actions moral in the end?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
From a utilitarian perspective, yes, because he's increasing the amount of good for the greatest number of people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, that's a strange way to say that, but I think you get what I mean. He's from that utilitarian, the greatest good for the greatest number. That's what he's doing.
Yep.
If you take a more sort of what's the word I'm looking for? You used it in the Ratatouille podcast. Deontological
that's it.
point of view.
Yep.
Towards what Dewey does, then no, it's not moral, because he doesn't have any kind of teaching certification,
Yep.
and he's just walking into a school and he's responsible for a classroom full of children. That's not a responsible thing to do as a person.
No.
I think the thing is, it's hard to say it is, and it's hard to say it isn't. It's somewhere in the middle, I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it made everyone better people. Like it made. Well, yeah, I think so. It made the kids sort of more confident about themselves.
Yeah, true.
Zach with his parents decided that this is what he wants to do, and his dad sort of appreciates that at the end. Summer got to realise her sort of potential with it being band manager and stuff like that. What else? Tamika with her confidence issues. Like all the kids seem to just be more sort of rounded and able to see their potential,
their own abilities and stuff.
Yep,
yeah.
Which probably wasn't possible in the sort of curriculum that they were in. Miss Mullins, she seems to be.
Yeah, I think you're right.
More sort of relaxed by the end of the film. All the parents as well. And yeah, it seems to have worked out quite well, but still, I don't think you should be. Anyone listening? Oh, okay. Gonna become a fake teacher then.
Get up and infiltrate a school then. Yeah. It seems to have worked out for the best, but I think that's more by luck than judgment, I think.
Yeah. It's the only this is the only film where I would happily sit through the credits, because the credits are just them goofing off and singing, which is pretty cool. Like, it's just they're singing a Long Way to the Top, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, and it's just, I forgot that I was watching the credits because their performance is so good, and the fact that they can all play music, that's just them doing that.
I know, mental. That's so cool. Yeah. It's one of my sort of frustrations when you see like actors and stuff that can't really play an instrument, and they're sort of pretending to be able to play it. It's like, well, lots of actors can play these instruments. You could just pick an actor that's slightly less famous that can play the violin, for example. I don't know.
Definitely. What a soundtrack as well. Some of the songs,
definitely,
like just absolute classics on there. You know, it really feels like it fits into what you were saying about the whole romantic sort of romanticization of like rock and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what else has a banging soundtrack? Megamind. Sorry, you cut out then, you're right.
We'll do Megamind, Lewis, okay? That's all I'm getting from this. I'm just getting Lewis really wants to do fucking Megamind.
It's because it's the greatest film of the 21st century.
Okay, well, we'll definitely... we'll do it then. Oh my god. Do you know what else is a good... Like, Yeah, this film's got a great... Do you know what else has got a great soundtrack? Megamind. Did you ever think about that?
Oh God. No, you're right. This movie does have a good soundtrack. I'm a big fan of when it works.
Megamind.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Megamind. No, I'm a big fan of when it works. Movie studios and directors and stuff picking not pop songs necessarily, but popular songs that are really good in the film that they're in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are films it works in and films it doesn't work in. It worked in, bizarrely, Jumanji and Jumanji 2. They picked out a couple of popular songs. They're okay. They're not, like, masterpieces of cinema, but they're good. They picked out a couple of, like, I think it was Bon Jovi and Guns N' Roses and stuff like that, and put them into the soundtrack. And, yeah, it worked quite well, surprisingly. And it works really well here, but there are also films in which it doesn't work quite so well.
Yeah.
For example, a film about a group of people, maybe a squad, and they're on like some kind of mission on which they might die, and maybe Will Smith, just as a theoretical example, might say, "So what are we? Some kind of suicide squad?" Just as a theoretical example,
Or,
that might be a film in which it might not work.
Or we're bad guys. It's what we do. Yeah, because that's how it works. Like, people commit crime because they're bad guys. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they're inherently bad people,
Yep.
obviously.
Cool,
That's how
cool.
the judicial system works, Danny.
Yep, of
Duh.
course. Makes sense.
What's that other stupid fucking line from that movie? It's the family line. I already lost one family. I'm not going to lose another.
Yeah, but
Mate, you've known us for like 3 days.
No, true. I think I might be out of notes.
Me too. It's because we keep picking good films
Yeah.
to do that are
And
really
now-
good, and then we're like, oh yeah, these are good. Now let's talk at great length about some different other film.
And now we're going to talk about Megamind, which is also a great film. Do you know, I have a radical proposal, Lewis.
Oh, okay.
We haven't decided next week's film,
We haven't, no.
so why don't we just fucking do Megamind, get out of the way.
Yes! Oh my god, I love Megamind! Right, okay. Okay, I'm fucking thrilled about this.
Okay.
Oh,
Jesus.
Megamind is such a good movie. When was the last time you saw Megamind?
A while ago.
I genuinely think that you will be pleasantly surprised by how, honestly, profound it is. I watched it literally just the other day. It's bizarrely profound.
I'm sure I'll feel the same when I watch it again. But, do you have a closing statement?
I do have a closing statement. Perhaps, as with a lot of Jack Black's work, it starts out as funny and silly and ends up being the greatest thing you have ever watched or listened to or anything even slightly adjacent to that. I adore Jack Black and I adore this movie for what it says about confidence and sticking it to the man. I could watch this film on loop forever.
I agree. One of my only regrets in life is not playing Dewey Finn in my school's production of this. And
Ooh la la.
yep.
I did not. Did your school did a production of this? That's cool.
Yeah, they did the sort of Broadway version, and they asked me to do it, but I was busy filming 4 o'clock Club, wasn't I? I mean, I should have went fuck off BBC. I'm
gonna do this unpaid school project.
Yeah, we got some rocking to do. You know, but yeah.
No, we never did plays at our school. Bizarrely,
Really?
there was before I got there. They did a performance of Grease, as in Grease Lightning, with like John Travolta and all that. And like the sixth formers were like played the main characters in it.
Yeah.
And then after that, they just mysteriously never made another play ever again. I'm sure there was some kind of reason that I was too 11-year-old to know.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember thinking that's a bit weird.
Well, that's a shame. I liked the sort of school plays that I did. But anyway,
I did nativities at primary school. That's about as close as I
yeah.
got.
Well, they're the classics, aren't they? They're going right
I'll
back.
have you know, I was Joseph. So
I was the
what does that tell you?
Christmas star.
Fantastic. Did you have to wear a star costume?
I did, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Did you like, what? Describe the star costume to me in extreme detail, please.
It was silver,
Wow, yes.
and it was shaped like a star,
Lovely.
and I had glitter on my face, which is fabulous.
Yeah, of course.
And I had sand shoes on, so
Lovely.
it was great. Yeah, and tights and white tights. So
Exciting times.
yep, I was essentially the narrator for the thing, which which was shite because like, I didn't want to do it, but they made me do it, so I gave the best performance I could, and I won an Oscar.
The mark of a
for
true
that.
professional. Yep, definitely.
Yep, but
I'm just imagining
before
somebody from the Oscars committee or someone from the Academy in the audience at your primary school, just like, oh, that boy that's playing the star is extremely talented.
yeah, before I relive any more trauma, let's let's go to the shilling. The podcast has link trees. And Lewis's link tree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley, and mine's is /O'Hiram, and the podcast's is /Shouting into the Void.
Indeed it is.
Got that right.
Woo!
We also have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we take the opportunity every week to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You keep the lights on at Void Towers, and you make it possible to do what we do and have a great time while we do it. You allow us to do... Allow me to indulge whims, like talking at great length about Megamind, which I will undoubtedly do next week.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you very much for supporting us. It means the absolute world. I hope you enjoy getting this episode 24 hours early.
Absolutely. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell all sorts of stuff, like tote bags, mugs, all sorts of stuff. Go have a look. Get yourself something nice, because why not?
Yeah, treat yourself. Go crazy.
Absolutely. And last but not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which she crochets, and she's very, very good at it. There is a reason why you should go and follow her on Instagram at Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and that is because the feed is Chef's Kiss Bellissimo Beautiful. And you should go and take a look. The colours, the quantity, the stitches, everything about it is stupendous to observe and to take part in, and I cannot recommend it enough. So go and take a look, have a wonderful time. I believe in you. I believe that you can go to your Instagram and search for Number 12 Crochet Avenue.
I believe in you too. But there we go. That was the School of Rock. After Megamind, we're going to need to find a shit film or a shit whatever. Just to
yeah, we could do. No, I can't think of a shit film off the top of my head. We could do The Room again.
The Room 2, Another Room.
The Room 2, Next Door.
Yeah. But yeah, so Megamind next week.
Sorry, I've got this image of that documentary about the making of The Shining, Room 236 or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I got this image of Tommy Wiseau making 235 films, and then somebody watching all of them, and they're watching Room 236 and going, "I just see how that was at all related. What's going on there?" What a shit joke that was. Quick, end the episode before I lose my mind.
Okay. Megamind. See what I did. But anyway,
I do see what you did, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you, hear you, smell you, impersonate as teachers, but ultimately make you more rounded human beings next time.
Well, hopefully we won't do that, but we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye. Bye.